This is Greg Allison, Green Greg's, coming to you on the 8th of June, 21. Time on deck, 1200 hours Central Daylight Time. I've told you many times on this channel that our power grid is at risk. I've told you in many ways, and one of the ways I've talked about is hacking. Well, it's just come out that Jennifer Granholm, the Secretary of the Department of Energy, yes, the highest official in the Department of Energy, has admitted that hackers from national adversaries, from our enemies, hackers, foreign hackers, could take down our entire national power grid. In fact, she just admitted this. Well, if you've been watching my channel, that would be no surprise to you. It shouldn't be if you've been keeping up with a series of power grid videos I've been doing over the past more than 2 years. As many of you know, I have actually chaired 2 power grid defense conferences, and I am currently a member of 2 national power grid defense committees. And furthermore, I am an electrical engineer, and among other things, I work system safety on, yes, space avionics. So I have designed power systems that have flown in space and are also in industrial factories in different parts of the world. So I've had my finger in a lot of this stuff over the many, many years. Defense, aerospace, manufacturing. So I'm no stranger to power, at least electrical power. Now, this is something to be concerned about. And I bring this to you in my eyes wide open and head on a swivel series, because I want you to be prepared, not scared, but prepared. Because it's a proposition this channel help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. Now, all that said, what is this about? It is about you understanding what you've got to do to be ready for times to come. And you understand the seriousness and the gravity of it. It is not to be taken lightly. It's not to say that we don't have hope, but we have to work for it. That's why I chaired 2 power grid defense conferences. We lost our tail financially on the last one, by the way, but I still continue to pursue this. So we can get a grid hardened, but we have to turn around a lot of heads. We got to wake up a lot of people in the government, especially in the industry, within what's called the National Electrical Reliability Corporation and the Federal Energy Regulatory Corporation, NERC and FERC. NERC is the organization that proposes the regulations to the government, but they are an industry group. It's a very incestuous situation here that has to be dealt with. Okay, all that said, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and bang the notification bell and click all so you can get more videos about what you need to know about, so you know to get ready, so you can inform your friends, your family, the people around you. The more people around you that are prepping, the better off you're going to be when it goes down, when it hits the fan, because that's the less people's going to be coming to eat you for the things you have, maybe at first, but eventually you, especially if you live in the city. All right, so let's get to it here. Oh, by the way, guys, part of prepping, part of getting ready is to make sure that you do have enough stores of food that last a long time. So I have a special. We can get right now $300 off a 3-month supply. And you can buy as many 3-month supplies as you want of this long-term food that lasts for 25 years. It's still a high quality. You get 2,000 calories a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and drinks and desserts, which will make you a winner. Awesome deals. This is real food. This is freeze-dried food, not hydrated food. So it still has a cellular consistency. When you rehydrate, it is real food. It's not mush. This is the real stuff, guys. This is the good stuff. And it's lightweight, easy to transport, easy to bug out with. Your kids could carry these. You can put it in your car, your bus, even on saddlebags in your motorcycle, maybe even a bicycle, your backpack. Or you can take the pouches out and put them in a backpack. Yeah, they're real easy to handle, guys. And the buckets themselves, of course, the prepping situation can be quite valuable. I busted one of the packs in here. I tore it open and I got stuff all in there. Didn't close it good. But this is, it was one of the pancake mixes. Guys, this is real food. I got to make some of this stuff. But look, this is 4 servings right there. An easy to carry pouch that fits easily in your backpack. Unlike this big old can, which is 2 servings, okay? Check it out. Can't beat it. Go to prepwithgreg.com. Prepwithgreg.com is where you get that special. And if you can't afford that, you can get a 4-week supply, which is 2 of those buckets for $50 off. Great deals. Okay, let's get into this. Yes, Jennifer Granholm has said that our entire power grid can be taken down. In fact, she was talking to CNN's Jake Tapper when he asked her about it. And, you know, and basically he asked her if our nation's enemies could indeed completely shut down the entire U.S. national grid. And her response was, yeah, they do. You know, he has to have capability. And she says, yeah, they do. So this is not a joking matter by any shape, form, or fashion. And absolutely they do. I've told you this before. Of course, as you know, they've taken down Colonial Pipeline. Now, this is ransomware. They've taken down JBS meat packing plants with ransomware. And that's had quite a bit of impact on this country. And I've warned, you know, that those impacts of the ransomware attacks were really an indicator of what could happen. Now that's ransomware. Now ransomware could be used to mess with our power grid, mess with people. But the attacks I would worry about would be the more malicious ones. Somebody who intends to do us in so they could advance their own agendas. There's plenty of countries that are somewhat less than absolutely lovey-dovey with the United States of America for various and sundry reasons. Often I get picked on for some of my videos, and the people will tell me, well, America's the worst bully in the world. Well, in the eyes of many, that is true. I didn't say it is true. I said in the eyes of many, especially foreign countries like China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, a lot of different terrorist organizations, you know, ISIS, and what do you want to call them? ISIS, ISIL, what do you want to call them? There's plenty of organizations out there in the world who would love nothing better than doing us in. Taliban, that side another, Al Qaeda. Yeah, we have got a few organizations could do these things, guys, that don't take a nation state. I've shown you that with my ability to develop rockets, launch them high altitude balloons, and reach the edge of space back in the 1990s. So, so I got that award right there, doing just that thing. So, yes, small groups can accomplish amazing things. It can be good or not so good, depending on their objectives. So let's look at some of these things. I'm going to show you. Well, let's talk about what would they do. You know, why would it be something to just switch off and switch back on? That's what most people think about cyber attacks. Well, the problem is this: we have these things called very high voltage power transformers. That's what they would be aiming for. The very high voltage power transformers are very vulnerable to overload. They can take these out by switching currents from one system to another. It causes them to overload. If you take this one out, the grid instantaneously. Here's the thing about our national power grid. It's an amazing machine. It's actually the most complex machine ever devised. The grids that all work together in the United States of America, North America, I should say. Everybody talks about Texas having a separate grid. Well, it is, but it's also interconnected to some degree. But we have three major grids in the United States, and which are each composed of many, many, many smaller grids. And these grids all work together in concert. I can show you some pictures of this in a minute. So they actually produce the exact amount of power being consumed instantaneously at every second. Every second. This much power is being demanded, that's how much power is being produced. If it's this much, it's this much. There's no storage in the system, at least not yet. It is the supply and demand. The system ramps up and down according to the amount of power being produced. And it switches power all over the country to maintain this. And to do that, there are these very long, high voltage power lines. And they have these huge step up and step down transformers that step that voltage up and then transmit it across the United States. And on the other end, you got a step down transformer, which steps it back down for consumption on that side. These are all over the country. That's how our grid is maintained. And that's what is at risk. I'm going to show you pictures of some of this stuff. We'll talk about it as I show it. Let's make sure I get one of these presentations open. There we go. So let's show some of these transformers I'm talking about here. We'll go right to here. And I'm going to load this up. A moment, please. All right, here we go. Now, these aren't the largest ones. This is not the very large ones. Now, the very large ones are so large that it takes, they're about 200 to 400 tons a piece, about the size of a house. And they're not easy to move by any stretch of the imagination. It takes, these are the coils, and one of the smaller ones, the coils are hand wound. There's only 2 companies in the world outside of China that sources these. China has started. I don't think China's making the really big ones yet, but China is making these mid-sized ones like this one here. But they've also have been caught by Sandia National Laboratories of putting cell phone apparatuses in their grid to report outside, I guess, what their apparatus is doing, so that China could stay in touch with how the grid's operated. Maybe take it down if they so chose. See, it's a terrible thing. But these, see, these are paper wound coils here. Often they're in baths of oil. So these are up in the air, air cooled and paper wound, but quite often, like I said, they're in oil. But they're hand wound. And they come from one company in South Korea and a company in Germany. Siemens will be in Germany. There's a South Korean company. They got an outlet in Mobile. I can't think of one right now. But guys, it takes 18 months from the time you order one to get it to your loading dock. 18 months from the time you order one of these grid transformers. And it takes very large rail cars to move them. Now, the very large ones, the ones that are 375 kilovolts and above, are like this guy right here. This is huge. There's 2,100 of these in the United States, over 2,100 of these. These guys here, there's probably tens of thousands of these, and this is still a big rail car here. Tens of thousands of these. These, over 2,100. There's only 30 of these large Schnapnel cars. There's not much more of these other almost Schnapnels. Probably about the same number. There's only 30 Schnapnel wagons, Schnapnel cars, they go by both names, that can move these very large, ginormous power transformers. But like I said, they're hand wound, so they won't be coming to you anytime fast at the best circumstances. If you take out all 2,100, you are in a pickle. If you take out the many tens of thousands of these, you are in a pickle. And this is what could be done with voltage shedding and switching. Look at this, guys. They got 3 trucks pulling this transformer. So this one's sticking up really tall here. 3 trucks, and they probably just took it off this ship here. And got some big crane. Here's a big crane back here. Three trucks. It might have taken, here's a crane over here. It might have been 2 cranes to move this thing. Here's another one, not quite as big, believe it or not. 1 truck can move this one. But look at the platform it's on, all the wheels it takes to bear that weight, so that they don't blow. These are very powerful, very serious transformers, my friends. So just giving you an idea of scale. Again, you have the step up and step down transformers, and they move this power across the country. That's how the grid works, my friends. Here is an article on a power outage that occurred back in 2003, which is now almost 18 years ago. So this article is actually an older article. This is when there was tree branches that got on some lines in Ohio, and they caused transformer in Ohio to go out. You had a cascading failure that tripped out almost the entire Northeast in 2003 because of these tree branches. And in fact, New York City was one of the affected cities. See here, Brooklyn Bridge by night, the Brooklyn Bridge by day. Everybody's walking across it. Brooklyn Bridge by night, no light. Brooklyn Bridge by day, it's a walkway. That's what was happening in New York City. Yeah, this guy, I guess he is being the traffic light. Not even a cop. Well, one of the cop around, probably just happened. Now, people there were very distraught. No power, That's when it's just starting, they're hot in there. What's going on? You can't go nowhere. New York City, 2003, the whole Northeast. Yeah. Whole 8 northeastern U.S. states and parts of Canada were left without power for at least 24 hours, some longer, because of memories of the attacks on 9/11 in people's minds. So this is the kind of thing you can look forward to with cascading failures. This is what I'm talking about. If somebody switches and shunts the power, if they shut down a few transformers, it's going to shunt the power to others. Or they can just do the right kind of switching. What they do with that is they start burning out transformers. Once you start burning out transformers, then the others are going to get shunted power to them. And if you're not careful, you're going to burn out a whole lot of transformers. So hackers absolutely could take down the grid. They absolutely could cause vast damage to a lot of number of transformers. It's the transformers that are the hard item to replace. There's a lot of things they could do to shut the grid down temporarily. There's things they could do to mess up the control systems, the supervisor control and data acquisition computers, called SCADAs that run the grid. Most of the things that run the grid on the power generation side of the table, on the consumption side, are actually supposedly off the internet. Supposedly. Just as the centrifuges in Iran were. But what did it take? One of these, thumb drive. Somebody, all it took was somebody to walk in and slip this thumb drive and a computer on the inside of the system, and Iran centrifuges were caused to spin up. But the control said they were spinning normal speed until it was too late before they figured it out. And a whole lot of centrifuges got damaged. And it messed up Iran's uranium enrichment program at that point in time. Now, this is the same kind of thing to be done in our power plants here in the United States. We've got, so there's a lot of things that needs to be done to ensure that we have the security. One, of course, is cybersecurity. And you've got to have, you know, the right kind of software on all your systems to look for stuff. But hey, even with that, things get through. Anything can be hacked. The hackers love to hack the cybersecurity companies most of all. They love to and do. They hack the most secure companies with random ease. They hack into anything they want to hack into. If they want in, they get in. Just remember, if it's on the internet, it can be hacked. It can and will be hacked if it's on the internet. So this idea that we got all this cybersecurity, all it does is slow them down a little bit, makes them think a little bit more what they got to do, but they still get in and take data from me and you, wherever else. Hackers will get into anything, and they can't stop them. They may tell you they can. Oh yeah, we got all this stuff. Oh, now we got block. Do you realize they're actually hacking blockchain now, which was said to be totally impossible. Nobody could hack blockchain. Oh, it's happened. It's happened already. So the companies that make cybersecurity software are getting hacked. Everybody's getting hacked. So I don't want to put my passwords up at Norton in some place like, oh, put all your passwords up here. Yeah, okay. Like put them all in one spot so the hackers get them all at once. I don't think that's a good idea. Okay. All that said, get one of these in the system. Oh, what else you got to do? You got to make sure you screen the people in the power. Do you know how many power companies are involved in the grid, especially on the distribution end? Thousands of companies. Even on the production end, it's very complex. You got to have security protocols. You got to scan people. You got to screen people. And you know what? We're having a hard time just hiring people. In fact, they can't hardly hire people to run the stuff today. You see the dilemma there? You have no skills, the thing breaks down. If you don't scan them well enough, if somebody brings in one of these, it breaks down. And eventually, even when you're scanning people, even when you're checking people out, even in the Department of Defense, there's bad eggs. They get in, they take crypto codes or whatever, and they give it to the enemies. Sometimes high-ranking people have done this. These things have happened. So, and I'm sure the grid companies just aren't quite like being in the military. A little more lax than that. So just how secure is our grid? Here's what needs to be done. The most basic form of defense is fixing it where the system isn't going to fry all these transformers if we get overloaded. The best thing to do for that is to harden them like you would for a full-blown EMP pulse. Not just a CME like you'd get from the sun, but a full-blown EMP pulse like you would get from high-altitude nuclear explosive device. If you harden the grid for that, then it's a whole lot harder for these guys to burn out the transformers. Yeah, they may do ransomware attacks. They may temporarily be able to take it down, but they won't be able, near as likely to do the kind of damage that they could do right now. So there is a defense. There's things that can be done. This is why I keep saying we need to harden our grid. If you can harden it for EMP, it's hardened for CME, EMP, and hackers. And hackers might take you down for a few days, but it won't be 18 months to even put in a new transformer. What's wrong with that? Some people say it would take 10 years to replace all these transformers. If most of these transformers are taken out, it takes up to 10 years to replace them. Starting 18 months after, of course. Well, that might be true if you have the resources to replace them. And the problem is that the logistics and everything we manage those kind of actions with are on the internet. They all require grid power. The trucks that deliver all this stuff require electricity being to run the pumps that pump the fuel, to run the trucks, to run the ships, to run the computers, to run the communications. And you've got to have spare parts. You know, these trucks and ships, they break down all the time. They got to have spare parts. They got to have a logistics system, a supply chain to run the entire thing. With the whole supply chain unravels when the grid goes down. Trucks don't roll, ships don't go. The money you buy this stuff from is in a digital ones and zeros in the bank, and they're non-existent at that point in time. How do you manage this stuff? All your communication system. How do you place the order? I know we do all that over the internet. I mean, how do you even look up the phone number? Hey, hello, Mr. Siemens in Germany. How do I buy this transformer? What transformer are you talking about? Oh, this, blah, blah, blah. Well, gee, I don't know. It's all in the computer. If you can call them in the first place. Problem is, all that goes over the computers too, and electrical systems. So you want to do that. You want to do that. Smoke signals just don't travel very far internationally. You're in a pickle, a big pickle. But the biggest pickle is that the EMP, the congressionally mandated EMP task force, which my friend Dr. Peter Vincent probably is a member of. He's been on this channel a couple of times. I'll be bringing him back probably in the near future. Estimated that 9 out of 10 people would be dead within a year due to societal collapse that would occur after a grid down. Yeah, you think the medicines will be gone, the food, the water, communications, everything starts unraveling. It would be ugly. And a lot of people are going to leave their post. They want to be working their post because they're going home to take care of mom and dad because the gangs going around raiding, stealing, and raping, and pillaging. You know, the zombie apocalypse, if you will. So it's not a pretty picture if the grid goes down, not by a long shot. It will take a long time to fix it. I'll compare it to Humpty Dumpty. I said Humpty Dumpty falls, all the king's horses and all the king's men are not very likely to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, just not like it was. It's going to take a long time to come back from this, my friends, a very long time. In the meantime, people got to learn to live if this happens. The best way we can do, the best thing we can do this is prevent it. Get the grid hardened. You got to lean on your congressman. You got to call them. I got information on the Action Center page of Freedom Restoration Foundation. Go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org and go to the Action page and look on there how to contact all your representatives in state and federal government. Start bugging them. Then we got to have this grid hardened. Go see the email I do with the videos I've done with Command Sergeant Major Michael Mabey. He's got a heck of a website and resources on this stuff. And I've got powergriddefense.org, which I need to update. But guys, we've got to get this grid hardened. We got to get on it. And I'll be delivering more information about that in the near future. But I'm just painting to you the possibility that it can go down. That you need to prep in case that's what's going around. You need to prep and prep very well. I also would implore you to grow your own garden. A great way to do that is to go check out my link to True Leaf Market. You can buy seeds from True Leaf Market. The premium seeds, guys, non-GMO. They're reliable. They're good at sprouting, and they are heirloom seeds. So you can get back, if you save the seeds from most plants, you'll get the same thing all back again. Links below in my show notes and in my pin notes. You'll see the links to True Leaf Market and to prepwithgreg.com. I mean, you should be able to remember that, prepwithgreg.com. That's the easy one. Okay. Bear in mind, this could get very ugly. And if we get into a war with another country, like Iran or North Korea or China or Russia, the first thing any of these countries are going to do is EMP us, take our grid down. And we've always thought it'd be a multi-pronged attack, that they would have kinetic attacks on the ground against our power grid elements, hacking attacks, EMP. It would be all the above. They would use all the resources to try to take down our power grid, and that would be one of the top objectives. Because that is our weakness, guys. That's our Achilles heel in the United States. And it shouldn't be, and it don't have to be. We need to get this fixed. But in the meantime, be prepared yourself. Take care of yourself and your family. That's the best thing you can do. Be centered with your creator, your maker. And never panic. Panic never serves anyone well. Don't be scared. Be prepared. But don't panic. Just be prepared. Pray. Do the best to preserve yourself, your family, and just deal with it as it comes. Panicking is not going to help at all. It will be the opposite. It will be bad. Don't panic. Keep your head on your shoulders. To keep your head on your shoulders. All right, said enough. Hope these things don't happen. Hope and pray that they don't. But prepare in case they do. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. What I'm going to say, thank you for watching.